Hello! So today we're gonna transform this monster Venom into a proper Midnight Suns video game Venom. And like I said before, Midnight Suns is one of my favorite games recently, and it's one of the few adaptations of Venom where he's actually adapted correctly, unlike, say, Insomniac Spider-Man 2 or countless TV shows and whatnot. So if you like Venom, I highly recommend you try Midnight Suns out, and then you might as well just fall in love with every other character in there. So the reason why I went for this base is because I have this Venom here, and I really like him, but for Midnight Suns, he is a little bit too, like, normal, like his build is a bit too normal. So this guy fits the bill a lot better. Venom's default stance in the game is something like akin to like this pose here, and he just kind of ticks all the boxes. He has these feet like he's got in the game. He's got like the build. I think he's like slightly too wide, but I plan on changing that with a simple illusion trick by modifying the head so it sits like up here instead. And then we're gonna completely redo this head, and hopefully, I've never done this before, but I'm gonna try to make an articulated jaw. I'm really hoping that's gonna be a success, because that would be really cool. But for starters, one thing I've never liked about this Venom sculpt is these stupid tendrils. I genuinely hate them. So we're gonna start off with simply cutting them off like so, and they're actually plugged into the back, but I think instead of heating everything up and then like filling in the hole, we might as well have a little base, then save some clay, and we'll tidy that up later on when we resculpt. But yeah, immediately I already like the silhouette more. I hated those tendrils sticking out, so I can just throw them away for now. So I've heated up the head to kind of see what I'm working with, and it turns out the head is in like 3 parts, and it's all glued in. This red piece is also a separate piece, and it's really in there. I'm not really sure how I'm gonna get that out, but I kind of need to get it out in order to properly sculpt everything. Maybe I should just like cut off this bit, because I have plans for like this bit here, because this is where I want to put the hinge. So regardless, even if I screw this bit up, it doesn't really matter, because I can easily just sculpt the inner workings of the mouth. Cut like there, leave ample room for a peg to go in here, and then we just take this bit off like so, and now we're here. And maybe if I hollow out like these bits here, maybe I can get enough room to get these pieces in like so. And I'm also gonna have to resculpt like the shape of this mouth. I'm probably gonna have to resculpt the entire thing, to be honest, because it's very stylized in how everything sits. I also want this bit to go down a little bit more so I can get a more natural smile. This is one of those ideas I have where it sounds so much easier when I just think about it than it is actually doing it. So I have some pictures here for reference, and as you can see, the shape is kind of wrong. Like the top lip bit is supposed to be like flatter than this one, so I'm gonna have to pretty much resculpt the entire head. I just need this to be like a rough sizing of the head, because we have like the inside here of the mouth. We actually do have ample support for a new sculpt here, so we start with just smoothing this out with a knife like so. Like the mouth is angled upwards, so I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of make a little line here. I'm gonna have to cover this entire thing in sculpt, so actually I think we're gonna get rid of the teeth properly. So because visually this really is screwing me over, I'm just gonna like paint in like how I want the eyes to be, just so I have an easier time understanding where I am in the like sculpting process. Something like that. Okay, so the thing is, like, with a project like this, I don't really know where to start, like, half the time. But I figure I would try to, just, like, outline the eye shape that I want. So I have some epoxy clay here that I mixed, and we're just gonna try to sculpt the eyes in the proper shape. So this is not going to be the final pass at sculpting the eyes. If anything, it's probably going to be the first out of 3, I would believe. Kind of looks like the animated series here. Yeah, this is basically just me, like, blocking in the shape of the eyes. A lot of this clay is probably going to get removed, and then I'm going to redo it again after that. But we have to start somewhere. Okay, so I finally finished sculpting, and this is where I am at the moment. And as you can see, it's really, really rough. It's not smoothened out or anything, and the paint for the eyes is horrible. But the eyes is mainly so I can, like, see where I'm blocking the eyes in. And then I'm pretty much gonna sand all the black completely smooth, and then I'll do a second layer of sculpting. Like I said, this was just the outline, and then after that comes kind of like the detail work, and then after that will be the cleanup. Can't do anything right now, but we'll wait. So I figured we would just slowly progress, and something I want to do is, this figure is made to kind of be hunched over, so the peg hole is almost like 90 degrees straight into the head, because it's meant to be like here. I think the head looks really good, like if it's like up here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with filling this out with some hot glue, and then we'll just sculpt over it and make a new peg hole. So literally what we're gonna do is we're just gonna cake up a whole bunch of hot glue here and create almost like a support for the clay that's gonna come in later on. So I think we'll do this in layers. After several layers of spot glue, we now have kind of like the back of the head created, and eventually I will put a joint in here, but it like fills it out pretty decently, and then I'll make adjustments as I see fit. Okay, so now we're just gonna cover up the majority of this with some milliputs we've mixed, and naturally we can make changes as we see fit later on. We need to tone down here. I notice the camera is focusing on the body in the background, so I guess a good thing with this Venom is that he doesn't need to be perfectly smooth. He can be a little bit lumpy because, you know, the symbiote and everything. This is mainly just so we can like block in what we want to do. I'm not really sure how much of this kind of stuff you see in the community nowadays, because 3D printing has really taken off. I love the whole idea of digitally sculpting my own things and, you know, printing it, but I don't have a printer and I don't really have any knowledge on how to sculpt digitally. I'm not really sure even how difficult it is. Maybe it's like kind of easy to learn, but I haven't really looked too much into it, to be honest. Maybe I should. So this is like the third pass, I think, and we're like making good progress. Just gonna even out this bit here at the side. We need to start working on this lower jaw, so let's see. If we put it together like here, then we need to cut it off at like so. Probably a little bit more. 2 click. I really hope this is gonna pay off, because this is quite a complicated thing I'm trying to achieve here. But okay, I think in terms of length it's pretty good. Still gotta get rid of these teeth here. Okay, now we can start sculpting some, like a semblance of a jaw here. And I think we're actually gonna extend it downwards a little bit. So I've decided to make the teeth in the most tedious way possible. And I have a bunch of these like toothpicks, and I hollowed out the inside of the mouth here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna, one by one, just kind of glue every single tooth in. And we hope that's gonna look all right. The difficult part is I'm not really sure how to do the proper lengths of the teeth. I think I need to shorten them a little bit more. So this is far too obnoxious and tedious to do on camera, but just to show you what I'm doing, I have a lot of epoxy sculpt in here, and basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to line everything up in a symmetrical manner, and it's really tedious and really difficult and really annoying, and I hate it. Like, you see this tooth here is too big, so now I need to take it off, give it like a slight cut, like here. Try again. And while we do this, we have to be careful not to disturb how we put the other teeth, because then we need to redo those. I also don't have nails for this. Oh, this is so annoying. I need a sculpting tool just to bunch up some of this clay. Need to move this closer to this tooth. That's pretty much what we're doing, and it sucks. Hopefully it's gonna pay off in the end to make it this detailed. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to not filming this because this is a nightmare, and yeah, I'll see you in a couple of hours probably. So I've gotten to a point where I think I'm kinda happy with it, but I still need to do some smoothing out. Like I had to redo, like I had to take off a whole lot of black here because there was just too much of like the main body up here, and now I need to attach this jaw piece somehow, and I drilled 2 holes, so hopefully I can fulfill my wish of having like a hinge here, and then I can take in the extra teeth, and because of that I'll be able to properly place them so they like work in between the grooves of these teeth. I have this model kit Vader piece here, and I thought about trying to cut off these pegs and just put them in. So I managed to get the jaw on, and as you see, we have a nice little hinge joint here. However, it is a little bulbous here at the sides. I'm gonna try to take it in a little bit, and I'm gonna have to try to get it as kind of like even as possible, because I think it just doesn't look very correct at the moment. So I'm gonna be sanding for a good while now. Okay, so the sculpt is pretty much finished. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to paint up everything so it looks more uniform. So I've actually painted Venom eyes before. I did it for the movie Venom, and I'm going to try to replicate what I did there in kind of like broader strokes. I painted like the outline. It's kind of blue, and then basically we're gonna work more white and silver into it, and the blue helps a lot because there's quite a lot of like uneven colors in there, and blue has better coverage than just straight up white, so this blue is gonna help quite a bit, and the silver is adding a little bit of that pearlescence that I want. And also, if I didn't make it very clear, the eyes are gonna be, for the most part, white. It's just, we're gonna work ourselves into the white. We want the eyes to be as three-dimensional as possible. So I think the eyes are pretty good now. I might go in and like retweak something. I did do some minor cleanup with the sculpting earlier because when you paint, kind of imperfections show up, like dents and stuff. And I'm never gonna get it like 100% like perfectly accurate, but I made it as like smooth as I could. And then after that, you kind of can also reason that because of the nature of the symbiote, it's a bit uneven anyway. So yeah, I think we're at a decent part now. So now what we're gonna do is I actually painted like the inside of the mouth already like a dark red, and I'm not gonna sculpt a tongue. So instead I did kind of like a little textured just inside here. And I'm not really sure if I want to do a tongue yet, but while I'm thinking about it, I'm just going to paint up the teeth. So what we have here is some Sculpting bone. And the reason why I'm doing this in the first place, even though the toothpicks have a pretty decent color from the start, is that when I painted everything red, it got on the teeth. And while bloodstained teeth can be pretty cool, it's not like I don't want to be stuck with it, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna put some of this nice Sculpting bone on the teeth. We might do some highlights, we might not, but this is a pretty much perfect match. And obviously the bottom teeth got the worst of the paint earlier, because there's way more red down here that needs to be painted. So just for fun, we're going to just give them a little bit of highlight with a mix of white and the Sculpting bone. So for the finishing touch with the head, we're going to use some of this wonderful gloss varnish. And I'm just going to put it on like these bits here. It's going to make it look slimy and disgusting. And we're going to put it on the teeth. Actually, we can probably put it everywhere in the mouth. But the teeth are the most important part. Here. Just lay it on there. And before this brush gets too much of some like paint residue on it, we're gonna do the eyes too. Just keep them nice and glossy. So here is Venom completed, and the reason why I picked this stance here to show him off is because this is his Midnight Suns default stance. This is actually because Midnight Suns isn't like a super high budget game, so they had limited amount of body models they could use. So Venom landed on the Hulk body, so he is unintentionally huge, but they kinda rectify that by always having him like crouching or crawling or using the camera in like clever ways. He's still huge, but you don't really see just how gigantic he is unless you go to like photo mode. But yeah, that's why I picked this Monster Venom body, because it's the closest there is to that body type. And he also has the feet instead of like the feet socks that Venom usually has. So it just kind of worked out perfectly. So the major thing about this is obviously the head. This is what I've been doing the entire video pretty much. And the head is finally complete, and I could not be happier with how this turned out. I'm really happy with how this hinge works here. You see, it's just great. I've always wanted a Venom that could open and close his mouth. And I'm really happy with how the toothpicks worked out in my favor. So the teeth are lined up. I used a photo I took in the game of Venom's teeth, and I tried to pretty much put the teeth in the same place where the teeth are in the game, and I'm happy that he can open and close them without the teeth like knocking into each other. And the eyes are also completely based on the in-game model. They're not perfect, but like I said earlier while I was customizing, like Venom is obviously comprised of a symbiote over a man, so I think he could be like a bit gooey and a little bit uneven, and I can get away with that. So I think it's all right. It's pretty decently symmetrical, I think, especially for being hand sculpted. And yeah, furthermore, I resculpted like the red gums here on the side and I mean, I resculpted everything pretty much. There's nothing really left of the original head. But yeah, this will be my Midnight Suns Venom. I also removed the blue highlights over his body because I don't know, it just didn't really work out for me. I think it looked really good on the original figure, but as soon as I added my own head to it, I had to match that, and I really couldn't be bothered. So yeah, I think like an all traditional black is working out perfectly well for me. I do kind of wish that these shoulders sat a bit higher. I guess I could technically try to do something, but I'm lazy and I'm not really sure how I would go about it. But yeah, he looks good, like crouched over, and that's pretty much all I was gonna do with him anyway. But thank you for watching and hope you enjoyed. Also, I decided to just go ahead and make a tongue, because why not? This is just the remnants of the old Monster Venom tongue, and I just gave it a paint wash, and it just goes into his mouth, and then you close it, and then it stays there. Yeah, like so.
We are Venom! It's time! They're all looking at us, Eddie! We pick you! Now can we eat? What did you do, Eddie? A quick bite! Delicious!